songs, let me tell you about a friend. It's Craig LeBlanc, where the good times never end. Talking Parks and Rec, it's a show you gotta know. Welcome one and all to the Daily Parks and Rec Show. It's the Daily Parks and Rec Show.
So you have to restructure the whole culture, because over time we develop an authoritarian type leadership style, and the leverage we have over our employees is to be good to them.
Right.
Create an environment that people want to be a part of, and do so that even if they can go make more money somewhere and they choose to leave, the beauty of servant leadership and its teachings is now you're sending out better leaders into the world.
Welcome back to the Daily Parks and Rec Show from the 2025 LRPA convention. In this episode, we're joined by Mayor Wade Evans of Central Louisiana, one of the newest cities in the Baton Rouge metro area. Mayor Evans shares how servant leadership, innovation, and resilient park systems are shaping communities after adversity. From flood recovery to greenways, this is a powerful conversation on why Parks and Rec is more than a service. It's essential. Let's dive in.
All right, we are live again on day 2 from the Louisiana Parks and Rec Association. This is Craig LeBlanc with the Daily Parks and Rec Show. I have a special guest, a mayor of a local city here in the Baton Rouge metro area, one of the newest towns, Central. Yeah. Mayor Wade Evans, would you like to introduce the town of Central?
Yeah, I'd be happy to.
America?
The city of Central is a municipality in the parish of East Baton Rouge. Unlike the rest of the country, we still have parishes here in Louisiana.
That's right. We do it right.
But our city was formed in 2005. We wanted local control. And so now that we're a city, we've got the city stuff under our feet. And so we were wanting to do better with our recreation area. And so we started pushing our local Baton Rouge recreation, which is BREC, which is a flagship in many people's eyes. We wanted to separate because we just didn't feel like we were getting where we needed to go. And so through the legislature, we were able to put some legislation together to actually separate from BREC and in turn create our own parks locally. Well, that caused a pretty good riff, and ultimately I don't need to own parks. What I need is parks to be done properly. And so through a compromise bill legislation, we had a senator that supported putting the 5 mayors on the commission, and in doing so giving us more control of how the recreation dollars were being spent, not just in our cities. But my goal on that mission is not for me, but it's for our whole organization. How do we make it the best it can be? And so that's in a nutshell. But the city of Central City with 30,000 people, we're very large. We have 62.8 square miles of land mass. We have some great parks in our city, some recreational areas. The city's also working on a greenways plan to help our citizens get out and be outside. We have a lot of historical areas that we're working on, natural springs along the Amite River. Our city's bordered by 2 rivers. On the east, all the way down to the south, is the Amite, and on the west, down to where the rivers have their confluence, is the Comite River. And we're a city that in 2016, 60% of our residents, our structures, I should say, flooded, which pushed me into politics. And so the exciting thing with the recreational stuff is doing regional detention areas that give us additional recreation area. And so we're working to create opportunities to take 1 square foot of property and do multiple things with it, whether it be flood control, watershed preservation, recreation, or any type of outdoor activity. So really excited. We have the whole world ahead of us on our parks. And then I'm here at this event because I'm speaking on servant leadership.
Yeah, I remember you saying about that. So what's your message on servant leadership? That's such a powerful, and this is a great group to be speaking about servant leadership.
Yeah. Look, since I've been on the BREC Commission, and one of the things I ask our directors is, you come to work every day. What is the problem that you have? I mean, we all know, you begrudge certain things. And I do the same thing when I'm interacting with our BREC employees at the ticket counters at our venues. I ask them, do you have everything you need?
Right.
The thing about servant leadership is the leader of the organization is actually the biggest servant of all if it's done right. And I run a city like that, and I understand that without the crew that operates the shovel and the backhoe and everything else, I'm nothing but a figurehead. And my goal is to convert BREC to a servant-minded organization to where the leadership serves its directors and managers so they can then serve the employees, then the employees can serve the community that's actually paying for the services.
Yeah.
But it's hard to emulate that individually in that system. And so you have to restructure the whole culture, because over time we develop an authoritarian type leadership style. And authoritarian style may work great when you're paying the most and when you have a lot of leverage over employees, but we're in the public sector, and the leverage we have over our employees is to be good to them.
Right.
Create an environment that people want to be a part of, and do so that even if they can go make more money somewhere and they choose to leave, the beauty of servant leadership and its teachings is now you're sending out better leaders into the world.
Yeah. Now, where did you first get exposed to the concept of servant leadership? Was that something as a child or an athlete?
Well,
how did you bring that
was,
into your life?
I think throughout the course of my life, I didn't know what it was called. It had never been called anything. But then I went and met with Ron Hollyfield from Strategic Government Resources at a conference, and I was blown away. And I actually bought a subscription to his network library, and I gave it to my staff for over 2 years. We did it, and we did it with the high level management team that I have in my immediate circle. But the goal is to bring it. Now we're rolling it out to the employees because we know that the better they are. But I don't know if I was ever formally introduced until I met Ron.
Yeah.
And when I met Ron, I really took an intentional approach to learning the process and becoming a true servant leader.
So what are some of the main qualities that kind of stand out in your mind that displays like a good servant leader?
Listening, empathy.
Oh, those are huge.
Conceptualization of what the goal is, being able to portray that.
Why is listening important?
Listening to understand is so important. So many times we're trained to listen to respond. And I think that happens when we're in school.
Now, how do you keep your ego in check that all the time tells you you know everything, you have all the information, and sometimes you just want to take charge?
So humility is another big aspect of servant leadership. We acknowledge that we're in this role because we have a set of skills that qualified us to do what we're doing. Now it's our job to help everyone else develop their skills so that they can be the best they can be. Early on, I did hit resistance because one of my, in Central, we don't have employees. We have a main services contractor that I'm directly in charge of. I have staff meetings. They report to me, but they don't work for me. And, there was a concern about losing the accountability. And we've had to cut some people loose. They just could not assimilate into that system. And you have to know when to cut bait, as we say down here in South Louisiana. But in doing so, what we found is keeping people in the organization who are not servant-minded and who are amenable to learning the principles creates a toxicity that then brings down the organization. And what we find, if you look across the board at especially park systems or cities where civil service and job protections are in place, where you lose the incentive to do a good job because you're protected, it shows that we've lost our way as an organization. Our job is to provide service, and where we confuse it is we think the only way to provide that service is through employees. And I'm doing it in Central without any employees, and we're arguably the most efficient government in, I would argue, the whole state. I mean, we dig as much roadside ditch in our city as the whole parish does on a much smaller budget. And so what it does, it allows us to be an efficient government. We can scale up, scale down as needed. We don't bring on staff and then have to keep them. If we do an intentional approach, we want to go attack potholes, which we did my first year in office. We knew that, we didn't need to staff up permanently, because once the potholes are fixed and once you get on a good program to repair roads, you're not going to have a bunch of potholes.
Yeah.
Whereas typical government or typical park operations or any other service minded organization, they would hire a bunch of people to go address this problem. And then when the problem was done, they just still have people that rode around. And so the goal is to, how do you streamline that? How do you create a model where the people have ownership in what they're doing? They're rewarded for what they're doing. They're intentional for what they're doing and how they do it. That's the goal. She's one of the directors of recreation for the organization.
Katrina.
Now I'm on the board of.
Shout out to Katrina.
I'm her mayor as well.
Now she's got 5 bosses.
No, look, as funny as that is, we had one of our old commissioners actually sent a letter to the superintendent and said, as your direct supervisor, and it's troubling to me because, look, I served on the city council before I became mayor, and when you serve on a board, you're nothing but a single board member.
Yeah.
You're nobody's boss.
Yeah.
You're a board member for an organization, and unless you have an idea that can get a majority of the board, you're nothing more than the human you are.
Yeah.
And
that's
so,
a good perspective to have, though.
Well, but people look, power is a very dangerous thing to people who may be insecure or uneducated and they use that power to wield it, not for things that are good. And if you look around, and that's where the authoritarian leadership causes problems. And that's where servant mindedness, like, look, I'm just here to do a job.
Yeah. And
when I'm done, I'm moving on. I'll go do another job.
And is this your first time in public office?
It is.
What kind of kicked you off the ledge, and what kind of really helped you make that decision? And then what were the kind of biggest supporters?
So the 2016 flood pushed me into politics, not because I wanted to get into politics, but because I had a landscaping business. We had a very good business for 17 years. And overnight, we lost a ton of business because of the flood. And so the day after the water subsided, I was mucking my house out, taking everything out of it. And I got a phone call. Well, I called my cabinet guy who had built cabinets for me on other projects that I'd done as a home flipper. And he said, I don't know what to tell you, Wade. Everybody needs cabinets, and we can't build them all. And so I decided at that moment I was going to go into the cabinet business. And it was a good time to get into the cabinet business. I had never built cabinets. Became a distributor for a cabinet company out of Florida. And we put over 200 houses back together. And the despair in people's eyes, because they felt their government just wasn't doing a good job.
Yeah.
And so once you saw their eyes and you saw their faces. I was at a church fair, and a buddy of mine just said, hey, won't you run for council out here? And I thought it was a crazy idea, but I did. And I won handily, not because I was a smart guy, but because I was honest and told people, look, what we're doing ain't working and we got to fix it. And I got elected and went to work trying to fix it. And I had a lot of resistance from the mayor that was serving while I was on the council. We ended up not doing much of anything, but that's what pushed me into politics. And I'd been very successful in business throughout the course of my life. I used to have an insurance agency, and so I understood finance. I understood insurance and construction and contracting and public works because of my business experience through the multiple different venues I had been a part of. And it was a natural fit. And so when I ran for mayor, it was because I knew I could do a better job than the guy we had. And I wake up every day, I'm intentional, and I just continue to work.
Yeah.
We're tireless. I mean, I work for, as a commissioner for BREC. It's an unpaid board position, but I care about the parish and the park system. I work with the mayor president that's here in our parish, Mayor Edwards, because I believe that not all of us have all the good ideas. And I think the more we surround ourselves with people with ideas, the better we are, because we can produce better results. I have a great city council that supports my bold vision. In Central, we're doing this crazy stuff with these regional detention projects. The Corps of Engineers won't allow us to dig the main ditches in our watersheds. And so we're just going to dig these big holes next to them. and let the ditches overflow into the holes, and then let the holes drain. And
The retention pond.
it's basically a regional detention pond, because you're detaining the water for a period of time, and then it drains out, and you can have chain link backstops for baseball, and you know, metal soccer cages that can flood, and then the water drains and there's grass again. And so it's about being innovative, thinking outside the box. If we do government like we've always done, like I often tell people that there was plenty of blacksmiths that did horseshoes, and they decided they didn't want to learn this newfangled technology about patching rubber tires. And ultimately, if you didn't adapt to change, you went out of business.
Oh yeah, they pay the price.
Yeah, and cities are no different. I mean, we're a business model that needs to be followed. It's just our business is providing services, and parks are no different.
Yeah,
you know, you have to look at what is your product, how are you going to deliver it, and I think why many times you see successful CEOs. You know, people will ask, well, how in the world did the CEO of Popeyes go to Delta Airlines? I mean, it's not even the same business. Well, it's not the widget at the end of the line that matters, is the process,
everything else in between.
Yeah, and so leadership is that. It's not that I know anything. It's that I know how to encourage people to master the skill set they have, and then empower them to use their skill set to be successful in doing what they need to do. That's what my job is throughout every role I'm in. And so it's not that I know a lot about all of it. It's that I know that people who are smarter than me know about it.
Yeah.
And so I lean on them.
Well, look, we made a video for the Parks and Rec industry nationwide out of a need. In COVID, a lot of Parks and Rec systems got shut down, got defunded because they weren't considered essential service.
That was a mind-blowing time.
But the funds rang off the hooks for people to, you know, screaming to reopen the parks because they were going crazy inside their house. But we made this video as just a give back to the community after recording 300 plus episodes. So I'd love to play this and then get your take on it.
All right, let's see it.
All right.
When we talk about essential services, what comes to mind? Police, firefighters, healthcare. But there's another essential service, often overlooked, yet always present: parks and recreation. Parks and Rec is health. It's the walking trail that lowers blood pressure, the recreation center where seniors fight isolation, the swim lessons that prevent tragedy before it happens. This isn't a luxury, it's a lifeline. Parks and Rec is safety. A playground instead of a street corner, a basketball court instead of trouble, a summer camp where every child belongs. It's not just about activity, it's about protection, prevention, and possibility. Parks and Rec is community, the festival that brings neighbors together, the cultural event that teaches respect and diversity, the open space where a city breathes. It builds bridges where division once stood. It gives people a reason to gather, to connect, to care. And Parks and Rec is economics. It strengthens property values. It drives tourism through events and trails. It saves on healthcare costs. Every dollar invested multiplies, feeding back into schools, into safety, into growth. Essential service is not just about survival, it's about thriving. And Parks and Recreation is where thriving begins. In wellness, in equity, in culture, and in joy. Parks and Rec isn't extra, it's essential. For our health, for our safety, for our communities, for our future. A message from the Parks and Recreation community.
I mean, look, it's so much that people just, it's unfortunate that not more people understand the value of parks and recs. I mean, if you look at our diabetic epidemic, you got more commercials on TV about insulin supplies than you do on getting outside and exercise. And, you know, you've got our healthcare system is so flawed because we don't really treat the cause, we treat symptoms, and recreation can counteract the effects of aging and poor health.
Yeah, I've heard it say they have a drug for everything, a cure for nothing.
Amen. I mean, they don't get to make any money if they heal you.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
you
just
go
a
cure
reality.
somebody is for bad for business.
Yeah. So, I mean, what business model is good
Yeah.
for that? But Parks and Rec do so much, and it gets people outside. And we're a very rural community, and there's used to have bumper stickers that say "Kids that hunt and fish don't steal and deal."
Mm-hmm.
You know, how do you get people out of their houses? We've become more sedentary, and look, COVID. I could go on about that. Insanity at that moment. You know, the parks, the most pure air there is, and you won't let us go.
Shutting them down.
Yeah, and UV light from the sun kills most all viruses in a
Yeah.
very short period of time. But I'll digress on that. Look, the reality is Parks and Rec are an essential part of any economy, any local economy. It's so important that schools have playgrounds for a reason. It's not an afterthought. They're as important as libraries are for knowledge. Parks and Recs are for health. And if you don't understand the symbiotic relationship of all of it working together, then you just have your head in the sand.
Yeah. And the good news is now they're making most new playgrounds are adult friendly. So
Amen.
that grandkids and grandparents
I'm a big fan of the trampoline parks. 275 pounds, go and have some fun.
That's it. You got to stay young.
That's great. Look, I really appreciate your time. I look forward to our speech on servant leadership. If I can open somebody's eyes into the servant model, that's my goal will be met for the day.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed our time together. Thank you.
Man, fantastic. Great job coming on the show, and good luck with your speech.
Yes, sir. Thank you so
Take
much.
care.
Are you ready to lead the next generation of Parks and Rec? Whether you're a student, intern, or rising leader, welcome to the Young Professionals Network by DPRS Media Co. Our mission? To empower early career professionals in parks and recreation through mentorship, visibility, and real-world leadership development. Our vision? A national network of passionate, prepared, and purpose-driven leaders who shape the future of public service. Starting now. Powered by the Daily Parks and Rec Show, YPN gives you access to exclusive interviews, career-building resources, behind-the-scenes content, and live events, all created by and for the next wave of Parks and Rec professionals. Learn from seasoned directors, build your brand, get involved with national conversations that matter. Whether you're in youth sports, facilities, programming, or policy, YPN is your launchpad. Young Professionals Network, your career, your community, your story.